This video is deserved after what felt to me a frustrating number of comments which redirected the discussion towards the supposed prophecy of St. Malachy on a couple of videos that I have made about who might be likely to become the next pope. To the people who speculate about who the next pope may be, or who spends time looking into the history of papal succession, coming across this prophecy is almost a certitude, and indeed it seems to be one of those popular Catholic pop culture references. According to the proponents of this so-called prophecy, this is delivered to us through the Irish saint from whom the name is derived, St. Malachy, who lived from 1094 to 1148. A contemporary of St. Bernard of Clairvaux and Bishop of Armagh, his relevance to the prophecy itself is minimal. Other than that, he was the supposed recipient. The prophecy of the popes, which he supposedly received, was lost to all record, including to that of St. Bernard himself, who, mind you, recorded the miracles of St. Malachy, was only lately published in the year 1595. The so-called prophecies recorded for popes prior to 1595 are generally fairly accurate. In contrast, the predictions made for after 1595 are all stretches by varying degrees, as would make sense if such a prophecy was in fact perhaps not written when it was originally supposed to have been written, and had been created maybe around the year 1595. For examples of a stretch, the prophecy would have to indicate that the glory of the olive would be in some way attributable to Pope Benedict XVI. The connection that is generally tried to have been drawn is that Pope Benedict takes his name after Benedict of Nursia. Saint Benedict founded the Benedictines. A branch of the Benedictines are known as the Olivetans, the Olivetan order. Olives. That sounds like a little bit of a stretch to me. In the same way that making generalized statements, a la Nostradamus, will eventually correlate to some visage of accuracy, it is plainly obvious that many bear no connections to the popes they are supposed to reference. At this point, it should be discernible that this so-called prophecy is in fact no such thing, and is a fabrication, a fraud, a sham. It bears no mark of authenticity that we should pay it any mind, not even to the extent that in my humble and limited research that any official statement has been made on its validity, either by a diocese or by a bishop or by a pope. Surely we are all familiar with the fact that, for example, Marian apparitions are highly scrutinized to ensure their validity and truthfulness, as are miracles in the canonization process, as are Eucharistic miracles. Rather, what prevails in the trumpeting of the so-called facts of this made-up prophecy is a sort of Gnosticism, which reserves the truth for a select enlightened few. At the same time, I have some trouble in totally browbeating people who put some faith in this falsehood. There is a certain comfort in certainty, and a discomforting and uncertain a time as our own. It is easy to see the crises in the church and the crises in the world, and be persuaded by half-baked arguments. Doubtless, there will be some viewers or individuals in the comments or across YouTube who would discard my words as being uninformed, closed off, and lacking in the true faith. In response, I simply ask that the viewer take a clear, unencumbered view of the facts of the situation to discern a few things. 1. The dissatisfactory history of this so-called prophecy as a written document, lost or unknown for 400 to 500 years after it was initially supposedly made. 2. The internal accuracy and inaccuracy of prophecies prior to and after the publishing date of 1595. And 3. The way in which the prophecies are made to fit the preformed beliefs of the adherents rather than the inverse. By this I mean that people come across this prophecy to orient and form their own opinions and justify them, as opposed to being formed by it. I find that to be rather unsettling. I hope you're all able to enjoy this quick reflection and debunking of this so-called prophecy. I wish you all well, and may God bless you.